this will be a snooze fest, I promise you. The 12 Boring Caesars of Rome. Greetings, listener. My name is Nicole, and this is the Sleep Story channel. Tonight, we explore the factual accounts of real lives, events, and monumental achievements that shaped the mighty Roman Empire. While you are still awake, please subscribe to my channel to continue receiving these boring journeys into history. Do not be afraid to fall asleep. That is kind of the point of this. Here we go. Chapter 1. An introduction to the lives of the 12 Caesars. In the early writings of antiquity, there emerged a comprehensive work that offers vivid portraits of the rulers who held the reins of power in Rome. This book, compiled by the Roman author Suetonius, gathers together the remarkable lives of both the illustrious leaders and their personal idiosyncrasies. The narrative spans from the days of a famed general whose ambition transformed a republic into an enduring empire, to the rulers whose eccentricities and administrative reforms left indelible marks on history. Suetonius, born in the later part of the 1st century after the birth of our Lord, and active during the reign of the Emperor Hadrian, basing his work on personal accounts and eyewitness reports, provides a rich assortment of factual anecdotes and details, historical events such as decisive military campaigns, political restructurings, and the construction of great public edifices, are interwoven with observations on the personal habits, virtues, and vices of these rulers. His work is not concerned merely with battle records and political maneuvers, but also with their daily behaviors and the cultural context in which their decisions were made. Every fact contained in these volumes carries the imprint of real dates, authentic names, and verifiable events that continue to fascinate both scholars and curious minds around the world. Within these pages, the lives of the emperors are carefully chronicled, offering a factual window into the turbulent yet brilliant era of classical Rome. The details of real years, historical personalities, and public works that were constructed during their reigns are recounted in a manner that is both respectful of history and calming for the listener. This fact book presents each event with clarity and fidelity, while maintaining the gentle tone necessary for a sleep story. As we immerse ourselves in these accounts, we witness the evolution of Roman political institutions, the expansion of the empire's boundaries through military triumphs, and the creative genius behind its monumental buildings. The recounting is based solely on historical records and established facts as preserved in Suetonius's narrative, ensuring that every statement is anchored in genuine events and verified dates. May the steady knowledge of these past deeds and the tranquility of historical truth guide the mind into a peaceful state of reflection as you drift into rest. Chapter 2. Julius Caesar, a man of conquest and controversy. Julius Caesar stands among the most renowned figures of ancient Rome. Born in the 1st century before the Common Era into a family of modest standing, his early years were marked by ambition and a relentless pursuit of military glory. He is credited with the transformative conquest of Gaul, which extended Rome's influence over large swaths of Western Europe. His tactical brilliance on the battlefield, evidenced in numerous decisive engagements, eventually led him to confront the entrenched power of the Roman Senate. In the year 49 before the Common Era, he famously crossed a river that later came to be known as the Rubicon, an act which set in motion a civil war that would irrevocably change the political landscape of Rome. Beyond the campaigns and the clash of armies, there are accounts of his keen intellect and charismatic leadership. He was a master of both military strategy and public oratory, qualities which resonated deeply with his soldiers and the people of Rome alike. His life also bore moments of personal as well as political controversy, ultimately culminating in his assassination on the 15th day before the Ides of March in the year 44 before the Common Era. The assassination itself, executed in broad daylight by a faction of senators who regarded his power as a threat to the Republic, remains one of the most dramatic events in Roman history. Julius Caesar's achievements and his tragic end continue to be a subject of reflection and study, illustrating the potent mix of ambition, military genius, and personal ambition that can both lift a man to great heights and precipitate his downfall. His life is a testament to the transformative power of singular ambition and the risks inherent in challenging established traditions. Every march of his legions and every carefully orchestrated political maneuver contributed to the foundation of an enduring empire. The strategic alliances he forged, the battles he fought, and his final, fateful confrontation with Rome's Old Guard are all facts that remind us of the remarkable impact of one man on the course of history. Julius Caesar's story shall echo throughout time as a resolute fact of ancient military and political achievement, providing a factual and stirring account that encourages the mindful recollection of both triumph and caution. Chapter 3. Augustus, the architect of imperial stability. Following the short and tumultuous period following Julius Caesar's death, emerged a leader whose measured approach forged a new era of peace and prosperity. Born with the name Gaius Octavius in the years preceding the Common Era, Augustus rose to prominence after Julius Caesar's demise, and through a series of political and military struggles, he emerged as the first emperor of Rome. His reign, beginning officially in the year 27 before the Common Era, signaled the transformation of Rome from a republic into a well-governed empire. Augustus is known for his extensive reforms that extended beyond military matters, incorporating legal, organizational, and financial restructuring that laid the foundation for centuries of stability. He initiated the reorganization of the state apparatus, promoting efficiency in tax collection and public works that have been documented in historical accounts. His dedication to the advancement of arts and literature patronage of public buildings, such as the Forum and the Ara Pacis, contributed to the cultural and architectural magnificence of Rome. Under Augustus, the Roman Senate retained a semblance of authority, while real power was effectively centralized under the careful management of one man. This delicate balance between the old republican forms and the new autocratic system was maintained through both subtle reforms and decisive acts that ensured long-term stability. Augustus rules as a prime example of how political genius and genuine care for public welfare can transform a nation while preserving, through careful measures, the dignity and legacy of a storied civilization. Throughout his long and consequential reign, which extended until the year 14 Common Era, Augustus laid down many of the policies that continued to influence the Roman state for generations. His ability to unite disparate political factions and his commitment to the efficient administration of a vast empire illustrate the enduring value of wise and deliberate governance. Historical records affirm that his reforms not only stabilized the empire after years of civil strife, but also ushered in an era where public morality, civic duty, and cultural advancement were vigorously promoted. Augustus' life is a model of imperial craftsmanship and a reminder that thoughtful innovation combined with firm leadership can lead to profound and lasting accomplishments. Chapter 4. Tiberius, the reluctant ruler in the twilight of ideals. Tiberius, the stepson and heir of Augustus, ascended to the imperial throne in the year 14 Common Era. Known for his military achievements prior to his rule, he began his reign with considerable promise and competence. His earlier service in the legions and his skills in administration brought him widespread respect among both the army and the ruling elite. However, as imperial responsibilities mounted, Tiberius grew increasingly reclusive, and his governing style became marked by an austere severity. Historical accounts reveal that in the later years of his reign, from approximately the year 30 Common Era onward, he withdrew from the public eye onto the island of Capri. His intensifying paranoia and the secretive nature of his later administrative decisions sowed dissent and uncertainty within the corridors of power. Despite his accomplished record in both military and administrative realms, Tiberius became increasingly associated with treason trials and a pervasive distrust among his own officials. His reign, lasting until the year 37 Common Era, is remembered as a time when the promise of a stable and enlightened governance was gradually overlaid by suspicion and a growing tyranny born of isolation. The story of Tiberius thus stands as a factual reminder of the heavy burdens that often accompany supreme authority and the ways in which personal temperament may shape the course of political affairs. The historical inquiries into his time highlight a ruler whose initial successes were eventually overshadowed by a retreat from public life and an accumulation of power that bred inner turmoil. Through the sober lens of recorded events, we witness the gradual transition of Tiberius from a capable military leader and administrator into a ruler defined by isolation and distrust. His life offers an important lesson on the complexities of leadership and the potential for personal misgivings to alter the fabric of a state. The factual narrative of his reign stands as a sober account of both accomplishment and decline in the service of Rome. Chapter 5. Caligula, the eccentric and infamous emperor. Caligula, whose given name was Gaius Julius Caesar Germanicus, inherited the imperial throne in the year 37 Common Era. His early rule was marked by initial hopes for continuity and prosperity based on his family background and the achievements of his predecessors. However, his reign soon descended into notorious episodes of what historical records detail as extravagant and unrestrained behavior. Caligula is said to have engaged in acts of extreme cruelty and capriciousness that shocked both the Senate and the Roman populace. Among the infamous anecdotes documented by Suetonius are the surreal displays of power in which he reportedly considered bestowing high offices upon his favorite animals and indulging in lavish spending that drained the treasury. His erratic decisions and unpredictable temperament contributed to an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty throughout the empire. The reign of Caligula was brief, lasting until the year 41 Common Era, when he was ultimately deposed and assassinated by a conspiracy of those who sought to restore rational governance to the state. His life remains an enduring example of how unchecked autocracy and unrestrained indulgence in personal whims can lead to the rapid unraveling of an emperor's rule. The factual account of his rule is marked by dates and events that serve as a stark reminder of the dangers inherent in absolute power when it is wielded without restraint. Caligula's reign, though short-lived, remains one of the most documented periods of excess and cruelty in Roman history. His actions, widely recorded by multiple sources, continue to invoke both scholarly inquiry and popular fascination, serving as a cautionary tale of the perils of authoritarian excess. In the quiet recounting of his deeds, we find ample evidence that even as a ruler indulged in bizarre and extravagant behavior, the structures of state eventually compelled a return to measured governance. Chapter 6. Claudius, the surprising emperor of strength and reform. Claudius, despite his physical impairments and perceived frailties, ascended to the imperial throne in the year 41 Common Era and surprised many with his capable administration. Born into the Julio-Claudian family, he was often regarded by contemporaries as unfit for public life due to his stammer and limp. However, his accession marked a turning point in the effective governance of Rome. Claudius proved himself a diligent administrator and a keen legal reformer, undertaking significant projects that included the extension of Roman citizenship and the initiation of public works. Notably, he oversaw the conquest of Britain, a substantial military campaign that expanded the imperial frontier and secured additional revenues for the state. His policies reflected an earnest desire to integrate diverse peoples into the Roman framework by offering improved legal protections and more efficient governance, despite occasional intrigues at court and the personal machinations of those close to him. Claudius maintained a steady course through his nearly 14 years as emperor, until his death in the year 54 Common Era. The historical record emphasizes his contributions to the development of Roman provincial administration and the improvement of state finances through careful fiscal management. His reign was characterized by ethical reforms and a methodical approach to the challenges facing the empire, both in military matters and in civil governance. Claudius' life story is a striking reminder that personal limitations can be overcome by perseverance, sound judgment, and an unwavering dedication to duty. His factual record, which includes the initiation of major projects and territorial expansions, continues to serve as an inspiring example of leadership acquired not through flamboyance, but through gentle determination and steadfast reform. Chapter 7. Nero, the Emperor of Art, Ambition, and Turmoil. Nero, born as Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus, later adopted into the imperial line, assumed power in the year 54 Common Era after the death of his predecessor, Claudius. His reign extended for approximately 14 years and remains one of the most debated in Roman history due to its dramatic turns and conflicting accounts. Nero was noted for his patronage of the arts and often involved himself personally in dramatic performances, poetry recitals, and musical contests. His ambition to be regarded as a benefactor of culture was intertwined with his exercise of supreme power, and he invested considerable effort in the beautification of Rome through the construction of elaborate public spaces and the redesign of existing edifices. Yet his rule was also burdened by incidents of ruthless suppression of dissent and events that have led later generations to question his moral character. A severe fire, said to have consumed large portions of Rome in the year 64 Common Era, occurred during his reign and raised controversies regarding his response to the calamity, although some historical sources present him as indifferent or even complicit in the aftermath. Others document his subsequent relief measures and building projects aimed at restoring the city. The tumultuous nature of Nero's administration eventually led to widespread disaffection among both the military and the elites. In the climactic moments of his rule, facing rebellion and dwindling support, Nero took his own life in the year 68 Common Era. The life of Nero is recorded with precise dates and multiple eyewitness accounts that underscore his dual legacy as a man of artistic vision and a ruler whose controversies overshadowed his achievements. His reign, marked by grand public spectacles as well as harsh repressions, remains a vivid chapter in the history of Rome. The factual narrative of his life offers clear examples of both the potential for creative excellence and the dangers of unbridled ambition when wielded without adequate control. In the calm retelling of his deeds, Nero's story serves not only as historical documentation, but also as a thoughtful reflection on the complexity of power and personal expression. Chapter 8: Galba, a brief reign in a time of upheaval. Galba emerged as one of the claimants to the imperial throne during the troubled period known as the Year of the Four Emperors. Ascending to power in the year 68 Common Era amid widespread military and political turmoil, he was recognized as a sober administrator who sought to restore discipline and fiscal order. His government, though short-lived, was notable for its attempts to reverse the extravagances of his immediate predecessor and to instill a more conservative approach to state finances. Galba's rise to power was marked by his intention to repair the ruins left by chaotic previous regimes and to return to a mode of governance based on traditional Roman virtues. Despite his earnest efforts, Galba encountered fierce resistance from ambitious rivals and disenchanted military factions, which ultimately led to his rapid downfall. His brief period of rule, lasting only several months, was marked by both severe administrative measures and an attempt to impose strict fiscal reforms. The factual records document his assassination in the midst of mounting dissent, reflecting the volatile political environment of the era. Galba's short reign, although marked by solid intentions, is remembered as a transitional phase in the broader saga of imperial succession during one of Rome's most turbulent times. The factual details of his brief rule remind us of the inherent fragility of power in times of deep crisis. His attempts to restore order and promote economic responsibility are recorded alongside the bitter realities of court intrigues and military insubordination. Though his time as emperor was fleeting, the evidence of his administrative actions serves as a historical footnote in the ongoing evolution of imperial governance. Galba's life, defined by its brevity and eventual demise, stands as a sober illustration of the challenges faced by leaders during periods of rapid and chaotic change. Chapter 9: Otho, a fleeting moment of ambition and despair. Otho, who assumed the imperial office in the wake of Galba's untimely death, is remembered for his exceedingly brief yet eventful tenure as emperor. His rise to power in the year 68 Common Era was accompanied by high hopes for stability and reform in a time marked by uncertainty and strife. Otho himself was a man of ambition, possessing an education in rhetoric and a reputation for personal refinement. However, the political climate into which he ascended was fraught with conflict among rival factions and enduring disputes over loyalty within the ranks. His attempts to consolidate power and secure the loyalty of critical segments of the army were met with fierce opposition from his contemporaries, leading to a rapid series of battles that demonstrated the volatility of the imperial system during this period. Otho's rule was cut short by defeat in a decisive confrontation against a formidable rival, an event that unfolded within the year 68 Common Era. The rapid pace of events and the brevity of his reign are documented with precision in historical accounts. His subsequent decision to end his own life rather than witness further civil unrest is recorded as a definitive, though tragic, act that underscores the harsh realities of political leadership in times of extreme crisis. The factual record of Otho's rule, with its exact dates and descriptions of military engagements, provides clear evidence of the challenges that beset any individual attempting to govern in an era characterized by intense factional conflict and rapid changes. His short-lived reign is a powerful reminder of how ambition, when faced with overwhelming opposition and indecisiveness, can lead quickly to collapse and despair. In the gentle recapitulation of his life, we are offered a factual and sobering glimpse into the extraordinary pressures of absolute power during one of Rome's most unstable moments. Chapter 10. Vitellius, a story of excess and instability. Vitellius, whose claim to the imperial throne was established during the chaotic aftermath of Nero's demise, reigned during a period when Rome was engulfed in competing ambitions. His rise to power occurred in the year 68 Common Era and was characterized by a swift ascension that capitalized on the disarray following multiple regimes. Vitellius is chronicled as a figure whose administration was marked by extreme indulgence and a notorious appetite for personal pleasure. Contemporary sources recount lavish feasts and extravagant displays of wealth that served to highlight his disregard for the austerity many expected after the years of excess that had preceded his rule. His governance, though brief, was dominated by a focus on satisfying personal whims rather than the careful promotion of fiscal and administrative reform. Vitellius rarely implemented policies intended to stabilize the state, and instead oversaw spending and extravagances that contributed further to public discontent. His downfall was as rapid as his ascension. In the struggle that ensued after his controversial rule, he was deposed and killed in the turmoil of the year 69 Common Era, a period that would later be known as the Year of the Four Emperors. The factual accounts of Vitellius' reign serve as a clear example of how personal excess and a lack of disciplined governance can undermine an emperor's ability to maintain authority. The precise dates and events recorded by ancient historians underscore the volatile nature of his rule, where unrestrained indulgence met with explosive challenges from rival factions. His life, steeped in the vivid details lifestyles of opulence and rapid political shifts, stands as a sober chapter in the annals of history that illustrates the dangers of unsustainable lifestyles when placed at the center of a vast empire. Chapter 11. Vespasian, the restorer of order after the turmoil. Vespasian emerged from the tumultuous period of the year of the four emperors to become the founder of the Flavian dynasty, ascending to power in the year 69 Common Era. His rise marked the end of a chaotic interregnum and the restoration of stability to the Roman state. Vespasian, renowned for his solid character and straightforward approach to governance, initiated fiscal and military reforms that repaired the damage wrought by years of civil war. His practical leadership focused on restoring public confidence by curtailing extravagance and revitalizing the resources necessary for the welfare of Rome. A series of public works, including the planning and construction of monumental structures such as the Colosseum, which was later begun under his rule, are testament to his enduring commitment to rebuilding a fractured society. Vespasian's everyday policies included careful management of the state treasury, which had been exhausted by previous excesses, and a series of measures aimed at ensuring the sustainability of future governance. His reign, which persisted until the year 79 Common Era, is well documented through inscriptions, coins, and contemporary writings that attest to his steady resolve and effective restoration of order. The record of Vespasian's rule is replete with precise details and dates that confirm his pivotal role in ending a period of great discontent. In combining military acumen with pragmatic administrative reforms, he has come to be remembered as a ruler who not only reclaimed lost stability, but also laid the groundwork for Rome's continued prosperity in subsequent decades. The factual narrative of his achievements provides a clear and measurable example of effective leadership in times of crisis. His life, marked by practical reforms and the careful reallocation of resources, continues to be celebrated as a turning point in Roman history, where the hope of renewal was successfully reinvigorated after a period of profound instability. Chapter 12. Titus, the Emperor of Benevolence and Tragedy. Titus, the eldest son of Vespasian, became emperor in the year 79 Common Era, and is often remembered for both his humanitarian endeavors and the trials that beset his reign. His rule, which lasted a brief period until the year 81 Common Era, is steeped in documented acts of benevolence as well as catastrophic events that tested his leadership. Among his most notable achievements was the completion of the grand amphitheater that stands in Rome, known today as the Colosseum, which symbolized the enduring might and engineering prowess of the empire. In addition to this architectural marvel, Titus is recorded as having managed the relief efforts following the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in the year 79 Common Era, which devastated several communities in the regions of Campania and beyond. His administration, though short, was marked by practical assistance to the afflicted and efforts to restore order in the aftermath of natural disaster. Concurrently, a great fire swept through parts of the capital, and historical sources indicate that the emperor responded with initiatives aimed at rebuilding affected areas and comforting his subjects. The legacy of Titus is thus characterized by a commitment to public welfare, even as he faced the heavy burdens of ruler and the unpredictable forces of nature. The factual details of Titus's brief reign, recorded meticulously in the works of ancient historians, reflect both the compassion and the limitations inherent in governing a vast empire during times of crisis. His actions, always documented with clear dates and contextual events, serve as an enduring example of leadership in the face of dual calamities. Titus's life is remembered as one in which an emperor confronted the unpredictabilities of nature with timely intervention and a sincere dedication to the people, leaving behind a legacy that has been observed and studied throughout the centuries. Chapter 13: Domitian, the Autocrat and His Lasting Shadow. Domitian, who succeeded his brother Titus and reigned from the year 81 Common Era until the year 96 Common Era, is remembered as an emperor whose strict administration and authoritarian style left a deep impression on the history of Rome. His tenure was marked by both significant achievements in public policy and pronounced measures to consolidate his power. Domitian undertook a vigorous program of military organization and extensive building projects that aimed to strengthen the defenses of the empire and enhance its urban infrastructure. He reformed the management of the provinces and took deliberate steps to enforce discipline and efficiency within the civil service. However, his rule was also characterized by a centralization of authority and harsh suppression of political dissent. Ancient sources detail how Domitian maintained an unyielding control over the Senate and other institutions, leading to a reign that was often marked by an atmosphere of fear and rigid formality. His autocratic methods, while effective in establishing order, eventually generated considerable distrust among the elite and set the stage for his eventual assassination. Historical records confirm that his life ended violently in the year 96 Common Era, an event that underscores the volatile nature of absolute power in an empire as vast and diverse as Rome. The factual narrative of Domitian's rule is replete with evidence from inscriptions, coins, and contemporary writings that attest to his achievements, as well as the controversial means by which he governed. His reign, though divisive at the time, has been studied meticulously by modern historians who seek to understand the balance between effective statecraft and despotic overreach. The stoic record of his policies and the precise dates associated with his acts of reform serve as a powerful reminder of the inherent challenges of governing with absolute authority. Domitian's story, marked by both fruitful reforms and significant autocracy, continues to be an important chapter in the study of Roman imperial history. Chapter 14: The historical context of Roman imperial succession. The systematic succession of emperors in Rome is a subject that has captivated historians for centuries. The period documented by Suetonius spans from well before the birth of the Common Era into the first century of the Common Era, and encapsulates a transformation from a republic marred by civil strife to an empire of unparalleled scope and ambition. The transitions between rulers, often accompanied by political maneuvering and military confrontations, are recorded with specific dates and events that serve to clarify the sequence of imperial reigns. Throughout this period, the struggle for power was not solely a matter of personal ambition, but a reflection of broader societal changes that included shifts in the balance of power between the Senate, the military, and the imperial office. The established tradition of hereditary succession was frequently modified by military coups and political intrigues that disrupted the continuity of leadership. Each transition, recorded in detailed historical accounts, is anchored in real events with verifiable years and unmistakable personalities. These factual details provide modern readers with a clear timeline of how a powerful state evolved in the midst of both planned reforms and unforeseen upheavals. The recorded evidence from this critical era demonstrates that the Roman imperial system was shaped not only by individual rulers, but also by collective events that influenced the trajectory of the entire state. The transition from one dynasty to the next is marked by patterns of conflict, negotiation, and occasional reconciliation that have been rigorously documented by ancient historians. These events, set within precise chronological boundaries, allow contemporary audiences to appreciate the complexity and dynamism of a political system that managed to endure through times of significant transformation and challenge. The clarity of the historical record offers a factual backbone to our understanding of imperial succession, ensuring that the lessons and legacies of these early emperors remain grounded in verifiable reality. Chapter 15: The military campaigns and conquests that shaped an empire. The expansion of Rome's frontiers and the consolidation of its power were achieved through a series of military campaigns that were both ambitious and meticulously organized. Historical sources offer detailed accounts of battles, sieges, and strategic maneuvers that expanded the influence of the empire in Europe, Africa, and Asia. From the campaigns in Gaul, led by Julius Caesar, to the later conquest of Britain under the directive of Claudius. Each military enterprise was executed with precise planning and validated by the tangible results on the battlefield. The strategic use of legionary formations, innovative siege engines, and the careful management of supply lines were crucial components that enabled Roman commanders to prevail in diverse and challenging terrains. These factual events are recorded with explicit dates and locations that lend clarity to the sequential growth of the empire. The military victories not only brought wealth and prestige to Rome, but also facilitated the transmission of Roman culture, law, and technological advancements to newly incorporated territories. The recorded details of these campaigns shed light on how persistent military prowess, combined with sound political strategy, enabled Rome to maintain its dominance over a vast territory. The campaigns were directed by leaders who were both celebrated for their personal bravery and respected for their organizational skills. The achievements of these military endeavors, firmly set within known historical time frames, underscore the essential role of warfare in the evolution of Rome's political and cultural landscape. In recollecting these events, the factual narrative emphasizes that each conquest contributed significantly to the enduring strength and legacy of the empire, reinforcing the importance of disciplined martial strategy in the face of formidable opposition. Chapter 16: Architectural and Engineering Marvels of Imperial Rome. One of the most enduring legacies of the Roman emperors is found in the monumental architecture and engineering feats that continue to inspire awe in modern times. The rulers of Rome commissioned numerous public buildings, roads, bridges, aqueducts, and amphitheaters that were conceived with both practical utility and artistic grandeur in mind. These constructions, initiated under emperors such as Augustus, Claudius, and Vespasian, were represented by precise inscriptions and construction dates that validate their historical significance. Among these impressive achievements is the Great Amphitheater, known today as the Colosseum, whose construction was an elaborate project that took several years to complete and has provided scholars with concrete chronological markers for the period of its inception. Other public works included the extensive network of aqueducts that supplied cities with fresh water, as well as the construction of majestic temples and forums that served as centers of civic life. The engineering techniques deployed by the Romans, such as the extensive use of concrete, the development of the arch, and the mastery of hydraulic engineering, are irrefutably documented by archaeological evidence and historical records. The factual details of these grand projects are thoroughly noted in ancient writings and corroborated by modern research. They serve as a testament to the enduring ingenuity and administrative foresight of the emperors who presided over Rome's transformation from a modest city-state to a grand empire. The precise methods, materials, and dates associated with these constructions provide a clear and immutable record of the technological advancements that were achieved under imperial patronage. In revisiting these architectural marvels, we are reminded that the physical landscape of Rome was both a canvas and a legacy, etched in stone and mortar with a permanence that continues to speak to the great achievements of its rulers. Chapter 17. Administrative and legal reforms introduced by the emperors. Throughout the imperial period, successive rulers undertook comprehensive reforms designed to streamline the operations of the state and improve the lives of its citizens. Legal statutes were revised, tax systems reformed, and provincial governance was restructured in efforts to foster stability and efficiency across the vast territories of the empire. These measures were implemented at specific junctures that are clearly recorded in contemporary accounts, with reforms attributed to emperors such as Augustus, Claudius, and later successors, who recognized the necessity of adapting to an ever-expanding realm. The systematic reorganization of the administrative apparatus not only consolidated imperial power, but also ensured that law and order were preserved by clearly defined legal frameworks. Emperors initiated policies that facilitated the equitable distribution of resources and bolstered the effective administration of justice across all regions under Roman control. The documents that record these reforms include precise dates and references to public assemblies, decrees, and the establishment of legal colleges whose influence extended long after the reign of their founders. The recorded evolution of Roman administrative practices reveals that many of the legal principles and methodologies established during this period continue to influence modern legal systems. The fact that these reforms were enacted in well-documented historical periods reinforces their authenticity and enduring importance. As we recount these measures with careful attention to the factual details, we are gently reminded of the profound impact that thoughtful governance and legal innovation can have on the stability and longevity of a state. These administrative reforms, firmly rooted in historical record, continue to serve as benchmarks for effective statecraft and the prudent management of a complex society. Chapter 18. Daily life in the Roman Empire under the Caesars. Beyond the grand narratives of battles, politics, and monumental construction, the everyday life of the Roman citizen was profoundly shaped by the policies and accomplishments of the emperors. Historical evidence provides detailed accounts of urban life, market activities, public festivals, and the organization of civic life in cities throughout the empire. The emperors, through policies and public works. This enduring legacy attests to the power of a civilization that achieved remarkable advances through the thoughtful leadership and strategic vision of its rulers. The historical records offer clear evidence that the innovations introduced during the imperial period have left an indelible mark upon the development of Western civilization, providing endless insight and inspiration for future generations. May you now slip into a deep and calming sleep, comforted by the reliable records of a mighty past and the measured truths that continue to inspire the present.